Democrat Eric Swalwell and Republican Tony Gonzalez were both facing possible votes to be expelled by their congressional colleagues. Gonzalez was facing pressure after he admitted to an affair with a staffer, violation of House rules. That staffer later died by suicide. And Swalwell's resignation comes just days after CNN and the San Francisco Chronicle reported multiple allegations of sexual misconduct against him, including rape, charges he denies. Here's a closer look at those allegations and a warning: some of the language in this report is graphic. Eric Swalwell is resigning from Congress, saying, "I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make," and, quote, "It's wrong for my constituents to have me distracted from my duties. It represents one of the fastest and most dramatic falls from grace in recent political history."
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false.
On Friday night, Swalwell posted this while facing sexual assault allegations.
I have certainly made mistakes in judgment in my past, but those mistakes are between me and my wife.
By Sunday night, Swalwell suspended his campaign for California governor after a former Capitol Hill intern and junior staffer spoke to CNN's Pamela Brown about interactions with the congressman in 2019. She was interviewed in shadow out of fear, she says, of professional consequences.
He pulls out his penis and instructs me to give him oral sex.
In September 2019, after a night of heavy drinking, she says she woke up naked with Swalwell in a hotel room with no memory of what happened.
I know that there was sexual contact because when I woke up in the morning, I could feel that there was.
Why do you want to be governor of California? Last November, Swalwell gave me the first TV news interview of his campaign for governor.
I want to be its fighter protector.
The former presidential candidate, House impeachment manager, and frequent online troller of President Trump,
Dum Donnie's got it wrong again.
quickly became a favorite on betting markets like Kalshi and Polymarket.
Well, let me say how proud I am to support you, Eric.
Senator Adam Schiff and nearly 24 members of Congress endorsed his campaign. All of them swiftly and publicly asked for Swalwell to drop out after allegations came to light on Friday.
The congressman categorically denies any misconduct took place.
Swalwell's lawyer joined me exclusively Friday night to respond. Is he saying that he cheated on his wife but didn't do anything illegal?
I'm not going to get into the details of that.
Over the weekend, Swalwell's own staffers urged him to drop out of the race, some urging him to resign. He did both. This is a look at polling in the California governor's race before the Swalwell scandal broke. The race to lead the nation's most populous state is now upended, and the previously lower polling candidates hope voters will give them a second look. The Super PAC supporting San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan says it raised $10 million this weekend.
The Democratic Party has got to lift up people of high integrity who have a track record of results.
Our CNN debate in that race is May 5th. Now, one of the women accusing Eric Swalwell of sexual misconduct is glad that he's resigning from Congress. Her name is Ali Samarco. She told CNN that she had received unsolicited nude photos from Swalwell. She spoke exclusively with my colleague Pamela Brown.
I think that it was 100% the right thing for him to do. I think it should have been done even sooner, but I'm glad that he did it. I don't think that putting him back into a congressional office would have been good for anybody. And I don't think those women in his office or on Capitol Hill in general should be around him for one more day. So I am glad that they won't have to endure that, and it's over for them. He never should have ran for governor to begin with, knowing what he knows. And nobody else is responsible for what happened to him. Eric Swalwell is responsible for Eric Swalwell, not the media, and definitely not the women.
Ali Samarco's husband and Democratic consultant Adam Parkhomenko joins me now live from Washington. Welcome to The Story Is. What is your reaction to Congressman Swalwell saying that he's suspending his campaign and now resigning his seat in Congress?
Well, first of all, thanks for covering this. And I don't think we would be where we are today without brave women like my wife, Ali Samarco, the other women, and the incredible reporting from CNN and Pamela Brown and some of the other writers, as well as the San Francisco Chronicle. I think it is incredibly needed, but I think there's a long way to go. You know, when you have somebody suspend their campaign and then you have somebody who is backed into a corner, and if you look at his statement, in terms of resigning. He doesn't say accusations, plural. He says accusation in terms of what he is going to go after. There's a lot more to do. And what is that to do? That is accountability and justice for the victims. And I think that we're going to hear from many other women. I'm so proud of Allie stepping up, because in that CNN article that came out on Friday, she was the first and one of the only to date women to put her name on the record. Her story is very similar to others, although they all have different stories. But if it wasn't for that CNN report, I don't think we would be where we are today.
I mean, tell us a little bit about your wife's experience with him and why it was important for her to put her name on the record, and why now?
You know, she's somebody who grew up in a family with conservative politics and found her own politics. And she, long before we ever met, you know, she was a Trump supporter while I was working for Hillary Clinton. And once she saw Donald Trump in office, she really figured out who he was and where she wanted to go with this country. And she started working for Terry McAuliffe, and she did everything she could to elect Joe Biden president. And in that process, while she was working for Terry McAuliffe when he ran a second time for governor, she connected with Elex Swalwell, who was somebody who was offering to help her find a position on Capitol Hill. Anyone that knows when you catch the political bug and you're interested in working on Capitol Hill, not only is it very competitive and hard, but you'll take any and all help that you can get. You know, looking back, obviously it's strange that a member of Congress would want to spend so much time helping somebody who is not a constituent. And at the time that this happened, her and I didn't know each other. And she was, you know, ecstatic and eager to be connected with a member of Congress, and he was going to introduce her to his staff and share her resume with his colleagues. And when she showed up at his office, the only person that was at the office was Elex Swalwell. And he was obsessively contacting her over and over again, and he had absolutely no interest in helping her find a position on the Hill.
You know, Congressman Swalwell has denied all wrongdoing, including this video from Friday night.
A lot has been said about me today through anonymous allegations, and I thought it was important that you see and hear from me directly. These allegations of sexual assault are flat false.
What's your response to that?
You know, I watched that video in full, and my first response was, in short, he said, "I am so sorry for everything, and it's not true." That's basic math. Those two don't add up, and they don't go together. And it's just a plain lie. One of the most important things that took place with that CNN article that Pamela Brown was involved in is Allie has receipts. He did this in writing. And so CNN was able to corroborate all of this based on what he did himself in writing. And he's just a liar and somebody who is dangerous. And I want to say again, I respect Allie so much for stepping up. And I know there's this interview that's coming out tomorrow with her and Pamela, but she said last week when she made this decision to go public, you know, she knew that she was putting everything on the line and she may not have any work after this. But she said if it helped one more woman come forward or helped one more person not be victimized, she wanted to do it. And that's where we are today.
And you say that some are coming forward, and we expect to hear more tomorrow. There's supposed to be a press conference with more potential victims coming out. On Friday night, I know you were watching when we had Swalwell's attorney, Elias Dubai, here on The Story Is. He said that he never sent you and Allie a cease and desist letter before. You say that. He never sent you guys that. But during the interview with us, he said that he has sent them to other accusers. And I asked him if he would pursue legal action against them. Here's that.
These allegations were made anonymously. We triangulated sources, and we were able to identify who was making these claims. We believe that these claims are false, and once we had enough information to determine who was making them, we sent cease and desist letters, and we're now looking at all available legal options. Yes.
So how do you respond to that?
Well, what I found very interesting about the letters, the cease and desist letters that I saw circulated online, is they said delivered by text message. And again, putting Allie aside, who she has not received a cease and desist letter, they delivered these by cell phone. Where'd they get all the cell phone numbers? You know, it seems to me that Eric had these cell phone numbers in his phone. Again, I don't know the facts around that, but what I did say at the time is I wholeheartedly welcome him to file a lawsuit against me, and I will provide him with my address where he can serve me if he thinks that Allie is a liar, because we have all of this in writing. And if we didn't, that article would not have come out last week. And I think that this is an intimidation factor and tactic that Eric is using, which I find very strange, considering just days before, maybe 7-10 days before, he did the same thing, saying he was going to send a cease and desist to the FBI to withhold certain things relating to a case from years ago about another alleged relationship with him. So it's a very Trump playbook thing, and it's very disappointing to see from Eric, who, by all accounts, over the years has been somebody who has been a cheerleader for victims and victim rights. And right now he's just acting like Donald Trump.
Yeah, and meanwhile tonight, the director of the FBI publicly said, Eric Swalwell, if you've got evidence of wrongdoing, come forward, come meet with us. Meanwhile, he also said, if women have evidence of that, come forward to the FBI as well. Adam Parkhomenko, thank you so much for sharing your perspective, and please send our best to your wife as well.
Thank you. Thank you for covering this story.